welcome to this virtual info session for Indianapolis Teaching Fellows. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. So my name is Candace Jones, and I serve as the Manager of Recruitment and Cultivation for ITF. And basically what that means is, as the program manager, my role supports many different logistics, so including assisting enrollees with onboarding and transitioning into summer training. So if you like what you hear tonight and you choose to apply and join us as a fellow, you can look out for lots of communication from me and from our recruitment team regarding your enrollment checklist items and any other enrollment details. That's kind of what we manage to help get you started. So personally, I am passionate about making sure that people are freed up to do the work that they love and do it well. So our staff team knows what it's like to be a new teacher, and we want to make sure that you feel equipped and confident heading into this application process, and if you choose to join us heading into the fall. So I look forward to getting to know you as you participate in the program, hopefully, and staying in touch with you well into your career. So let's get started tonight. Here is our brief agenda, and I hope that you'll stick around to the end to hear directly from some of our alumni fellows. So you might have noticed a TNTP logo and wondered, what is that? TNTP is the larger organization that has housed Indianapolis Teaching Fellows and several other teacher residency programs since 1997. So across the nation, more than 40,000 teachers have been trained in a TNTP program to teach the highest need schools in our country. We're so excited that you are looking to join us here in Indianapolis. And I just want to quickly shout out some of our other Teaching Fellows programs. So we have the Baltimore City Teaching Residency, Teach Minnesota Teaching Fellows, and Teach NOLA. So though our programs vary to meet the needs of our individual cities, our philosophy remains the same. We believe that no matter a student's background or current circumstances, that all students are capable of achieving at high levels. And if you believe that too, you're in good company. So here are a couple of quotes just from some of our former fellows, and I'll give you a moment to just review those and kind of get a feel for what our fellows have said about our program. So Indianapolis Teaching Fellows is an alternative teacher preparation program. Across our state, you'll hear programs like ours referred to as Transition to Teaching or Alt Route Certification. However you choose to reference it, the ultimate goal is the same, to provide an accelerated track to the education profession. So many of our fellows are career changers who are bringing years of skill and expertise to the classroom, but some of them are energetic college graduates, and even others have been dedicated to service in local schools and are looking to take the next step to become licensed educators. So locally, ITF has trained more than 800 teachers for service since 2007. In 2024, our instructional leader surveys rated 44% of our fellows as better than or much better than other first-year teachers that they had worked with. In 2021, 70% of our alumni were still serving in schools, either teaching or in administrative roles. And this is well above the 50% national urban average on teacher retention. And of those still teaching, 85% were still teaching locally. So we're really proud of the long-term commitment and impact of our program and our fellows. So our vision is that every student taught by a fellow will be assured a teacher who increases access to grade appropriate assignments, strong instruction, deep engagement, and high expectations, therefore providing a high quality education with excellent outcomes for all students. So did you know that research shows that even one effective teacher can change the trajectory of a student's life? We take that seriously, and we expect our fellows to do the same. We want our fellows to approach teaching with a growth mindset, both for their own development and for their students' learning. Our most effective fellows further engage with their content and internalize it to design and deliver the most rigorous learning opportunities for students. Exceptional teachers establish an engaging classroom culture that is positive, inclusive, and full of joy. They also set the stage for students to be upwardly mobile, allowing them to live a life of their choosing after high school graduation. So next, let's chat about our program eligibility requirements. So here are the eligibility requirements of our program. First, you must hold a bachelor's degree conferred by June 1st of the program year. So for us, this year in 2026 would be June 1st of 2026. Next, as required by our state, you must have a minimum undergraduate GPA of 3.0 or a 2.5 with 5 years of relevant professional experience or a graduate degree. Now, I will pause here and say that not having a 2.5 GPA will not automatically disqualify any candidate from participating in the program, but it might mean that you have additional steps that you need to take to be admitted to Marian University. And so we'll talk about our partnership with Marian and what that secondary review process looks like a little bit later in this presentation. Next, you must have never held an Indiana-issued transition to teaching permit or a professional license, never have held a professional teaching certificate from any state, and you must have foreign transcripts obtained from institutions outside the US evaluated by an approved agency. And then lastly, just meeting all legal requirements to work in the United States. And because of our program, permanent residence is required. We are not able to sponsor student or work visas at this time. And then we have several primary licensure areas. Fellows must choose one of the following content areas for initial licensure with the state. Just so that you are aware, these areas were chosen because of higher need and the typical coursework that's available at Marian for our program. And one other thing to note is that while biology and chemistry are listed here, there are some other science disciplines that fellows are able to pursue with our program, such as physics or something like that. To earn your professional license by 2028, if you were to be a part of our program this year, you must take and pass 2 Praxis exams related to your content area and grade level pedagogy. So to learn more about testing requirements for licensure, please visit the Praxis website. And then if you have any further specific questions, we can chat about them when you get a chance to interview with us after you apply. Okay, so here's a little bit about our partnership with Marian University and our ITF MAT graduate program. So one of the main components of our program with Indianapolis Teaching Fellows is our partnership with Marian University's Klipsch Educators College. As our licensing entity, the Educators College provides the coursework hours required by the state of Indiana for those who are in a transition to teaching program. In addition to fulfilling state requirements, each fellow will earn about 36 credit hours over their 2 years, earning their Master of Arts in Teaching. So this coursework is split up over 6 semesters, starting with our summer pre-service training program. So when you start ITF and you do summer training with us, that actually will count as your first semester of your grad program. And then after you're officially enrolled in the program, you'll get started on your application to Marian. So fellows participating in Indianapolis Teaching Fellows must be enrolled in the ITF MAT program. I will note here that the deadline for the Marian online application is May 1st. So please keep that in mind if you're completing your TNTP Teaching Fellows application in March or April. So you'll have a pretty tight timeline to complete that Marian application. But here are the application items that you'll need to submit to Marian. So first, of course, your online application. In addition to that, you'll turn in an INCLIS background check. Any and all official transcripts from any university that you've attended, even if it wasn't the one where you got your degree, if you just took a couple classes there, they will still need that official transcript. Your professional resume. And then once you're admitted to the university, you'll submit a letter of intent. And then, of course, the state requires a minimum of a 2.5 GPA to be eligible for any transition to teaching program. But in the event that your GPA falls beneath the 2.5 requirement, your application will go into what's called a secondary review process. So this will require you to submit some additional items. The first being a passing score for your Praxis Content Area exam, letters of recommendation, both professional and personal, and a personal statement. We are happy to answer any further questions that you might have about this particular part of the process for the ITF MAT program during your interview. Okay, let's move on to pre-service training. Is anybody having information overload just yet, or is that just me? Okay, let's talk about pre-service training. So providing students a high quality education begins with a high quality training program. So our pre-service training, or PST as we call it, is hosted each summer, preparing first year teachers with the important tools and skills they'll need in the classroom. So during PST, you'll study proven techniques that great teachers use every day to advance student learning. You can expect to practice these techniques intensively, both with peers and real students in summer school classrooms. So starting at enrollment, you'll ground yourself in our TNTP publications, The Opportunity Myth and The Opportunity Makers. You'll focus on essential skills such as lesson planning. You'll receive coaching that is targeted to support you in specific growth areas identified from classroom observation. And then your performance will be evaluated at the end of the summer with a rating. So our instructors and coaches will prepare you to teach by focusing first on mastery of foundational teaching skills before shifting to more advanced practices. So we'll go at kind of a slower pace because there are certain things that we've identified that are really critical for first year teachers and brand new teachers to know. And then we hope that we'll be able to build on that with you as you grow through your first year. You must demonstrate an emerging proficiency in those fundamental skills by the end of pre-service training to earn a high recommendation for the fall. So our training is research-based, rigorous, and grounded in feedback and hands-on practice. So long story short, it can be tough, but that's because we know that teacher quality is the most important factor in raising student achievement. By holding you to a high bar and helping you meet it, we ensure that our students get the great teachers that they need and deserve. So historically, our pre-service training has had two major divisions. The first being what we call boot camp, which happens during the first week of training, and then field experience, which begins when fellows start teaching summer school, essentially. So boot camp focuses on community building and preparing you for the classroom, while field experience days will be split between teaching time and training sessions. So you're going to have a really robust experience if you choose to join us during pre-service training. One of the things that makes our program unique is the extent to which we rely on coaches to provide training and support our fellows. So all of the coaches we work with are local teachers who have led their students to significant outcomes and understand what it takes to teach in Indianapolis. Your coach will provide you with specific and frequent feedback so that you're able to improve rapidly and prepare to take on your own classroom in the fall. And I personally just love this quote from one of our 2022 fellows about the impact that her coach had on her personally and on her teaching. All right, so we are going to move on and chat about a new extension of fellow support that we have provided through TNTP's Educator Excellence Collaborative. So at TNTP, we're always looking for new and meaningful ways to support fellows on their journey as educators. So new this year, TNTP's Educator Excellence Collaborative is an exciting opportunity for all fellows to receive assistance that underpins the hard work and sacrifices that they will make in their first and second year of teaching. So a few things that you can expect if you choose to join us this year: stipends that provide supplemental income during our 6 weeks of unpaid training, financial assistance that can be put toward any educational expenses, a 1-year license to an online platform for Praxis test preparation resources, including practice exams and coursework. And then periodic get-togethers with current fellows across our sites that is designed to build community through this shared experience of being a teaching fellow. So you'll receive more information from the EEC after your enrollment to the ITF program. All right, speaking of finances, let's talk about it. So the primary financial commitment for Indianapolis Teaching Fellows is the Marian tuition. You can see here that tuition is just under $15,000 for both years of the program, with $2,465 as the flat rate per semester. So the university does us a huge favor by providing each semester at a flat rate. Payment plans are available, and fellows can defer payments until their second year of teaching. And of course, fellows are always able to apply for financial aid at any time. But the main resource that we offer to offset the cost of the program is the TNTP AmeriCorps program. If you're familiar with AmeriCorps, it's a federally funded program that focuses on service learning and volunteerism. And so our fellows have the opportunity each year to apply to be an AmeriCorps member. And those who enroll in AmeriCorps for each of the 2 years can cover the cost of their master's degree. So many of our alumni fellows have attended the university free of charge because of that partnership and the award that they receive at the end of each service year. You can learn more about becoming an AmeriCorps member during your interview and as you move into enrollment. All right, and here is a little bit about our application process. So there are 4 steps to be enrolled in Indianapolis Teaching Fellows. First, you'll begin an application at apply.tntp.org. Our team will determine your program eligibility and assign you a content area based on your preferences and the needs of our schools. Once your eligibility review is cleared, you will be prompted to complete an application assignment, which is basically watching our program overview video. It's very similar to this info session, but it provides you a few additional details to know about the program. Then after the assignment, you'll be invited to schedule an interview with us. We recommend that you schedule your interview 1 to 3 days after you receive the invitation so that you can just maintain your momentum in the application process and kind of get to some of those enrollment tasks that much sooner. After the interview, your application will be reviewed in full and you will be offered a spot in the program. During the offer stage, you'll sign and review a commitment agreement document. That agreement is really important. So once you get to that step, if you have additional questions about the commitment agreement, our team is happy to assist you with that and help you out with any of those questions. So putting it all together, here is what we call the fellow life cycle of the program. It outlines everything that happens from your application through your second year as a fellow. So we'll quickly just kind of review that just so that you are aware. So the applicant stage started in November of 2025 and runs all the way through April of 2026. And it covers those 4 steps that we just talked about: the application, assignment, interview, and offer. Please keep in mind that today, as this is being recorded, this is March 18th. The deadline for applying to ITF is April 14th. So we hope that we can help you make that decision as soon as possible if you would like to join us for this year. The enrollee stage starts technically in January and runs all the way through May of 2026. It covers various activities throughout the spring, including interviewing with our school partners and a really fun event that all of our enrollees are invited to called ITF Preview Day. I won't say too much about it here, but it's really fun. During the summer, of course, you're going to as a fellow participate in pre-service training. And then fellows also will apply for their temporary license so that they're ready to teach in our partner schools. During year 1, fellows will begin coursework at Marian, teach full-time, and undergo regular observation and evaluation by our TNTP staff. And then year 2 is devoted to completing any remaining coursework, taking your licensure exams, and graduation. So that's kind of what the full life cycle of a fellow looks like. So what's your next step after hearing all of that? Well, we hope that you like what you've heard today and choose to start your application today. As I mentioned previously, the earlier that you begin your application, the better. There are several moving parts to our program, and we want to make sure that you don't feel like you're on a merry-go-round going too fast if you apply later in the process. So the earlier you apply, the better. But of course, our team is happy to support you in any way we can, and we would love to continue a discussion with you if you have further questions. Email is the first best way to reach out to us, but if texting is more your thing, you can send us a message at that phone number that's listed there. And then finally, if you don't already, please follow us on all of our social media platforms. It's a great way to just stay in touch with us and get updates regularly. So I'm sure that you have loved hearing my voice through this presentation, but I'm really excited to share with you some of the voices of some of our alumni fellows. So I'll see you soon and hope that you apply to ITF. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Emmanuel Harper, and I was a part of the 2010 Indianapolis Teaching Fellows cohort.
Hi, my name is Vanessa Haro-Miracle. I am part of the 2023 ITF cohort.
My name is Vania Wyatt, and I was part of the ITF 2022 cohort.
Brian Williams here, part of ITF cohort 2016 and 2022. I loved PST so nice, I did it twice. One of the things that was most challenging my first year was I wanted to do all the things all at once that I had learned in PST, wanted to do all those things in the classroom, and I was trying to do too much in too short of a time.
One moment that challenged me in my first year that I didn't expect was something that I think about often, which was an instance of a student in my class who was exhibiting habitual student defiance and behaviors. I was just fed up with it that day. It was affecting my pacing. It was affecting my classroom procedures. So I called the dean of students to my classroom, where when he got there, he pulled me out into the hall and the student out to the hall, and the dean of students just laid into that student. And I thought to myself, yes, I am winning in this moment. Like, this student definitely gonna understand you can't mess around in Mr. Harper's class. And as the dean of students was laying into him, there was a tear that began to flow down the side of his cheek.
I remember a day when a student became physical and verbally disruptive during a lesson. It threw everything off, and I felt unprepared in that moment.
One of the challenges that I faced my first year, and honestly, I'm still working through, was the workload that comes with education. I wasn't expecting the amount of pre-work I had to put in order to ensure that my lessons are as effective as they need to be.
I had to learn to, relax a little bit and kind of go with the flow and use the skills that I was taught and that we rigorously went over during PST during the summer trainings.
And the dean of students just continued to lay into him, and then I realized I am thinking about this all wrong. It was a watershed moment in my teaching experience where I realized that there is so much more to teaching than students complying with procedures. From that moment forward, I got to know that student and cultivate a relationship with that student. And getting to know the whole student has been the foundation of how I interact with my scholars here at Heron Riverside High School and how I do the good and meaningful work of teaching.
That experience forced me to shift my thinking. I began to Understand that behavior is communication. Instead of asking, how do I stop this? I start asking, what is this student trying to tell me? I became more intentional about building relationships, setting clear expectations, and creating consistent routines so students felt safe and supported. It also pushed me to become more proactive than reactive, teaching and modeling behaviors, reinforcing positive choices, and approaching discipline with both structure and empathy. Now, I approach challenges with patience and curiosity, knowing that how I respond can either escalate a situation or help a student grow.
I learned through this experience, and I'm still learning, how to prioritize what is essential, as well as how to prioritize what I need to do to take care of myself, because at the end of the day, you cannot pour from an empty cup. Looking back at my experience with ITF, I learned no opt-out. I've heard of it, I've seen it done, but actually implementing it and seeing how it should be implemented was eye-opening. I am very thankful to the coach that I had, and now I do not let my kids not get away with doing the work, whether it's academic, whether it is behavior. And that has shown that I'm not letting them get away with anything. And therefore, my classroom runs a lot smoother and they grow as they should.
Just the amount of support that you get through ITF with your coaches, with just being able to network of other teachers in your cohort going through these things when we're meeting, whether it be monthly or every other month. It is just being supported to where you are not out there by yourself, which has really made me the educator I am today.
One mindset that had the biggest impact on how I serve students in my first year teaching and continues to resonate with me is this idea of affecting change as a newcomer. As a new teacher, there's a lot of noise surrounding you, whether it's veteran teacher opinions about student achievement or different teaching philosophies or just the day-to-day realities of what it means to be a teacher. But affecting change as a newcomer to me meant that the most important work that happens is inside the four walls of one's classroom. If someone is considering applying to ITF and they're unsure of whether they should, I guess really you should ask yourself, do you love it? Do you love the idea of being a teacher? Do you love the idea of getting to know students and teaching them something you love, even when it's hard, even when it's difficult, and sharing with them in the joy of understanding and unlocking their potential? It is a profession that I think is the best profession in the world, and people who love it, people who are passionate about it, people who want to do it for the rest of their lives are the ones who are the most successful and derive the most meaning from the work. So I think you have to just ask your heart if it's something that you love doing and want to do for the next however many years of your life, and once you arrive at that answer, then you'll know.
If you are considering joining ITF, but you're not sure if you're ready or not, I will say, I'm going to be honest, it is a lot of work. It is not easy, and the expectations are high for teachers in general. That being said, with ITF, I was very fortunate to have my support and community from our cohort. It is nice to just be able to vent to a fellow teacher who is in the same program and say, this is hard. And instead of hearing the advice that I'm hearing and reading about over and over again, it was great just being seen and heard and someone else saying, yeah, no, me too. I am also struggling. That kind of community is honestly the best reason to join ITF.
To someone that is looking to potentially join ITF, I would use the sports analogy. You miss 100% of the free throws you don't take. So if you are thinking of transitioning to education, in my humble opinion, ITF is the best of both worlds. You get a rigorous training, you get a support system that I believe that's second to none. My ITF cohort teachers, we are still tight to this day. I reach out to them, they reach out to me, and we use each other to make it through this education field. So please, if you are interested in ITF or interested in the career of teaching, ITF is the way to go.
If you are considering applying to ITF, but you feel a little unsure, I want you to know this. You don't have to feel ready to take the next step. Growth often happens when you step into something that stretches you. ITF isn't about being perfect or having everything figured out. It's about being willing to learn, to be challenged, to reflect, and to grow. There will be moments that push you outside your own comfort zone. But those are the very moments that shapes you into a stronger, more impactful educator and leader. It is also important to know that you won't be doing it alone. There is support, community, and guidance along the way. People are there to pour into you just as you are pouring into your students. If you are feeling a pull or even a small nudge towards it, don't ignore that. Sometimes uncertainty is a sign that you're stepping into something bigger than yourself. At the end of the day, ask yourself, am I willing to grow? Am I willing to be stretched? If the answer is yes, even just a little, you're more than ready than you think.